Welcome, everybody, to the first ever episode of the Front Runner podcast. It's been a long time coming. We haven't been able to get together and do this, unfortunately. The one time we did, I forgot the most important piece to the equipment, so we couldn't do it.
Sure.
We're not going to talk about that anymore after this, but this is a little test run podcast. I'm here with Dan and Faccenda, Alex Faccenda, my co-hosts, my fellow podcasters. I don't know if you really. What do you guys think of the name? You guys think the name's gonna stick or what? I know Faccenda like backwards K for a long time, but I don't know.
The front runners it suits perfect with the way the Giants are drafting. So let's go. Let's see, Rams. I don't know, Rams, Chiefs.
As long as that means that you Yankee fans, we're going to root for the Red Sox.
No,
I think it qualifies as a great name.
Doesn't qualify. No, doesn't qualify. Not even the slightest.
Well, I know Faccenda, you wanted it to be backwards K in honor of Brett Gardner, but
he's the worst.
Meanwhile, he's leading the team, the MVP of the team so far.
I wouldn't quite say that, but
what is he batting right now? Probably 260, like he always does.
And he's healthy.
Somewhere in the 200s, but he's had a lot of clutch games. So I mean, but that's his MO though. He'll pop off for a couple games when we need him, and then he'll suck for a majority of them. But it is what it is.
Crawl back into the coffin that he's in.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That's Brett Gardner's MO. That's his Yankee career in a nutshell. So
he's the world's best 220-something hitter. Literally how it is.
And you guys will miss him when he's gone.
Hey, he was a solid Yankee. I think he was pretty.
There's
solid
a reason
Yankee.
why
I know
he's
you hate him.
the longest tenured Yankee on the roster.
No,
it's true. He hit his 100th home run, grand slam against what team was that?
Took him like 12 years to get 100 home runs.
What team did he hit that grand slam against?
I do that in 1 year in MLB The Show.
Listen, you can trash talk the Red Sox all you want. I'm complimenting your own player. I don't even get where this is going.
I just forgot. I was just looking for a memory. Help me out. I kind of forgot what happened. So I was just asking what team it was against, but I guess it was against the Red Sox. Sorry to hear. Anyway, segueing into the first topic. The 2019 draft, the first round was last night. So we're gonna go through the top 10 picks, kind of give our thoughts, our expectations for each player pretty much. Kyler Murray going first overall. No real surprise there, guys. What are your thoughts on that pick? Do you think he's justified number one, or did they make the wrong decision in Arizona?
He was overpicked. He was well overpicked in the baseball draft. He should not have gone 8th overall.
What did he go, first or 9th or?
It was 8th overall to the Oakland Athletics, and that was
that's actually unreal that he went that high.
I think Arizona is going to run that offense that he ran at Oklahoma, and I think that suits him well. It's just whether or not he's going to survive because he's a small ass dude.
Yeah, but the plus side that they were saying was that he never seems to take a big hit. He always knows how to get hit or he's elusive enough to escape them. But he's going to have to do that.
The fact that the 1 year that he did play, he only played 1 year in college football. He had the best offensive line, arguably, in the history of college football.
That was my next point that I was going to bring up is I'm pretty sure his college line is going to be better than the line he's coming into with Arizona. So
the line's going to be better. The talent around him, the line was better at Oklahoma. The talent around him, the supporting cast was better. Arizona is in a mess. Their management doesn't even know what they want to do. Their general manager, in his second year, has hit the reset button already. They fired the coach he initially brought in. They're going to probably trade the quarterback he initially drafted. I mean, how do you have any confidence as a player signing with the Arizona Cardinals, as a fan of the Arizona Cardinals, that your team is heading in the right direction?
Well, I think drafting Murray first is a step in the right direction. I'm
in the camp that Murray's going to be one of the biggest busts in the NFL.
No,
wow.
Bust is the quarterback that they're.
That's your take right there.
Absolutely. No, I think Rosen's going to have a great career. Absolutely.
Listen, Rosen, I never thought should have been drafted as high as he was last year. Anyways,
I mean, what do you go?
Rosen's stats and Rosen's skill set though is better than any quarterback in this draft. He would have been the first overall pick ahead of Kyler Murray when you look at it on pure stat and skill basis.
I just think they threw Rosen under the bus so quickly
Absolutely.
for only playing in such a small sample size for them to really base his games off of. I think he has a lot of upside for sure. I mean, he's still a young quarterback. He literally only played a year. And how many games did he play? 6 or 7 games with a offensive line that was horrible, like and an aging Larry Fitz, who is nothing of what he used to be. So who's he really throwing to? David Johnson was shaky last year. Like he had spurts of David Johnson that we knew from a couple of years ago where he was elite. So they were a little too inconsistent for them to really get a good read off of him. So I was surprised they were going with another quarterback, especially first overall. But what that leads to the point, what do you guys think they're going to do with Rosen? Are they going to trade him? Are they going to try and deal him somewhere? Because whoever picks him up is going to have him for pretty much for free for like 3 years or whatever his contract is with Arizona right now.
I think Miami makes the most sense, and I think Miami, the way they drafted this year or so far in the first round, I should say, is pointing to them making a deal with Arizona.
Yeah, I think Miami is the best place. I think that suits him better. It's interesting because if Arizona doesn't have that coaching change, I don't think Murray's drafted first overall anyways.
That's true, yeah. That seemed to be a common theme this draft was somehow some kind of connection, whether it was a coach or friend or like a former player or something like that, which is we'll get into that on our next segment coming up. But yeah, to your guys' point, I think they passed on Rosen a little too quickly. They kind of expected too much in such a small like sample size of games for them to really choose. So, I mean, it'll be exciting to see. I know Kyler definitely put people in the seats, and they'll be excited to watch him, especially early on in the season. I think he's an absolute stud of an athlete. I mean, you're not drafted first overall in the NFL draft, win the Heisman, and then also, get drafted eighth in the MLB draft. That's literally never been done before. There was a lot of historical things that happened this draft, that being one of them. But it was not surprising to me. I think that was one of 2 picks that seemed to be locked in from early on in the week. I think the next one was Bosa at number 2.
Bosa going to Niners. Yeah.
No surprise there. I wish that the Giants were able to get him because that's exactly what we would have needed. But we need a lot of things, but there's no way he's slipping all the way to 6. So
there's no way Bosa was going to make it to 6, but there's no way we thought the Giants were going to use the 6th pick on who they picked.
Yeah, well, let's not get into that yet because I know we all have plenty of things to say about that. So let's save that for now.
I wonder where Oakland's AA or AAA team is. Is it if it's anywhere near Arizona? Because Arizona, Oakland ain't that far away.
Why you think he's gonna try and play both?
Baseball contract. Never know.
Well, didn't he originally say he was gonna play baseball and then he changed his mind at the last second? So
he won the Heisman Trophy and was like, "Oh, I can make a lot more money in a quicker period of time."
Yeah, pretty much, and not be locked in for too much time too, because baseball, a lot of those contracts are long contracts. So
I mean, the minor leagues will take him at least 5 years. NFL has 5 years he could be done. So,
what position was he in college?
Outfield. He was quick, good defender. I mean,
I was either gonna guess like center or something, or like a middle infielder position, but
the outfield. He's outfield. He played in the Cape. He only had 1 hit, which was a home run for I think he only played in 11 games before he had to go to Oklahoma's early footballs. Whatever they call that, the spring season, the summer sessions, whatever. I don't even know what they're called.
OTAs or whatever.
Training camp. But he was quick, good on the base pass.
I mean, you could tell he's fast from every highlight they showed. He showed
pop at time when he was at Oklahoma. It's just consistently hitting. Oh, sorry, we got the Toronto game on and Stroman threw high inside on Simeon or whatever his name is. Simeon.
Simeon, yeah. Oh, man. So Bosa going to the 49ers. What do we think about that? Think about that defense right now, because the Niners, low key, they have a team on defense right now. Honestly,
that's a win for the Niners and for PJ.
I don't know. I'm actually not. I'm not sold on Bosa.
Really?
He had a full
They're
year.
not what?
He had a full year off. We have no idea how he's going to come back from the injury because he sat out the entire year. You have no idea how he's going to be mentally because he's never played in a competitive football game for that long. There's a lot of question marks that makes this pick a very high-risk pick. On paper, of course, it makes the most sense. But in reality, it is a very high-risk pick.
What do you think about the guy from Houston that went to Buffalo? Oliver, the same thing. He didn't play for half the year.
I never said that wasn't a high-risk
Oh, no,
pick.
no,
That's my point.
I'm trying to ask.
It's a high-risk pick.
I'll test you.
No,
we're
but
getting testy.
It's a
Episode
high-risk pick.
I feel like Dan's going to smack me.
But that's my point. That's my point, though.
It's a high risk. Okay.
No, yeah. I mean, what you're saying definitely makes sense, and it's something for them to consider. But they've been saying the whole time that he has potential to be better than his brother, and his brother's an absolute stud. But he was also hurt, so maybe something in the family there. Who knows?
They know how to get it to the
Must
NFL.
be that water.
But they've officially solidified themselves as the defensive Mannings, or however they were referring to him last night, since their father, their older brother, and now him have played in the league all at the same position. So just like the Mannings. So I thought that was pretty funny, but I think it was cool. I mean, I think PJ was definitely excited. I think that defense is going to be lethal if everyone stays healthy. They have a lot of studs on that defense, but offensively, who freaking knows with them? It's all about if Jimmy G comes back healthy enough, or if he's going out with porn star still, or whatever his mind's at that point.
Hey, more power to the man.
So historically, I think this was. I'm almost 100% sure this was the most defensive players that have been picked in the top 10. I think it was 7 out of the top 10 players were on the defensive side of the ball, which isn't really surprising going off of what kind of a year this was in college football. But what do you guys think about all those Clemson dudes going relatively close to each other? You guys expect that to happen?
I mean, that their defense, besides Lawrence and that offense, I mean, that defense was just as much as a key part to their national championship run as, anything else. But, I mean, I know the Giants picked up that one tackle. What's the guy's name? Lawrence. They picked up him. I don't know. He was suspended for the
Dexter
playoffs. Lawrence.
Yep.
Wasn't he suspended? He was suspended for the playoffs, right? That was their one guy that got suspended on.
Yeah,
line,
he got suspended, and apparently he has like health issues with his weight and stuff like that. So
yeah, because they said he came in. Didn't he go into
he was a freshman at 360 pounds. Yeah, 360 as a freshman. That's.
And he's not. Is he the one that's not good off the run, or is he good on the run?
No, he's a run stuffer.
But he's not, and then he's terrible pass.
Which in a passing league makes no sense.
I mean, look at the size of him. How fast is he really going to be? I think he's just going to plug the holes and just push people around. Honestly,
I don't know.
I mean, we traded Damon freaking Harrison Snacks, which is literally essentially exactly the same play style as a run stopper, and he's a Pro Bowl freaking defensive tackle who's been proven already. So. And it seemed like we traded him away for, I don't even know what picks we got for him, a 3rd-round pick or something irrelevant. So I don't know. I want to save that because we're getting to that point now. But
I think the real winner is Clemson football, because if you are the top defender in high school, there's no other school you'd rather go to than Clemson football right now. Yeah. And Dabo
just.
Well, yeah, we could segue into that. His new contract that he just got.
I think no one would rather be Dabo right now. I mean, Dabo just signed a 10-year, $93 million contract.
10-year, $93 million, yeah.
Not bad.
Highest paid college.
Now the highest paid college coach
in general.
I think Urban Meyer signed a deal for like $74 million or something like that, and he was the highest, but he just.
What does Saban get paid?
That I don't know. That's a good question.
$90 million.
Doesn't matter now because neither of them are the highest paid. So we know who it is now. And $93 million in Clemson. I think they had some kind of clause where if he left to go to Alabama or something like that, the buyout would like change over the course of a certain number of years. I don't know what the exact details are, but
if he leaves out of that contract, he'd be stupid.
Well, I think it's because he went to Alabama, so they're afraid that he wants to go back and coach at the school that he went to or something. That's what people on Fox. I was watching Fox Sports today, just kind of like listening to the stuff that's been going on, and God forbid Daniel Jones turned the TV on today, because he was literally just getting ripped on every single platform.
See, that's the thing. It's so unfair to him because he is a solid prospect, a solid quarterback prospect. Certainly taken in certainly wasn't meant for the first round 6th overall pick, but he's still a solid prospect that can turn into a productive pro. But all the fans are against him, all the odds are against him, and all the media is against him because a GM did that to him, not because not his own doing.
It's not his fault. He has
picking him at 6. We made it harder for him, or the Giants. I'm not gonna say we, but the Giants made it way harder for this poor kid now, taking him at 6. There was no way in his mind he thought he was going at 6 until he had whatever prior conversations with the Mannings or Gettleman, whatever weird situation they had going on relationship-wise. But by him going at 6, the expectations and everything like that, the reputation of getting, first-round pick by itself, but also top 10, almost top 5, is he has a lot. He has big shoes to fill now. But the part that I don't understand, and now we could segue completely into the Giants side of the draft, which I know we're gonna love to dive into, all 3 of us. But dude, I watched the press conference video of Gettleman talking about the pick, and somebody literally asked him, "So why did you?"
I'm sorry. They're gonna watch this video and they're gonna see me and Dan laughing because you took a screenshot of us in the right-hand corner.
Oh, you just got that? You just saw that?
What were we doing?
That was like before we even started the podcast. I was just doing it. I thought you guys saw it. I was like, "Do you guys see the picture?" I was laughing at it, and you guys weren't reacting.
Oh my god! What am I doing? Look at my hairline. It's non-existent. I love that.
Put your head back up, bro.
Oh my god!
What were you doing?
No, but
we're gonna cut that part out.
Yeah.
We'll see. I was talking the whole time, so it's gonna be a little tough, but so that means I probably won't be cutting it out. But it's all right.
And action.
Well, we're not that serious, so this is all right.
This is a test run anyway.
Okay, back to the Duke guy.
Yeah, the press conference. A reporter literally asked Gettleman, "Why did you pick a quarterback?" And his answer literally was, "Why not?" Pretty much. And
I believe he said he can go out and get hit by a car tomorrow. Right?
Well,
which pretty much means, right? Oh, yeah, we'll draft this guy 6 overall, but I can go get hit by a car. Well, fuck it. Maybe he can go get hit by a car. Like, they just wasted his, like...
They asked him for his reasoning behind the pick. Aside from the relationship with, the Mannings and whatever else in their camp, he was like, I saw him at the Senior Bowl and watched those three possessions, pretty much, he was saying, or the 3 series, and I knew that he was a professional quarterback. I'm like,
3 series.
What kind of sample size is 3 series of 1 game for you to decide if he's an NFL quarterback, let alone a first rounder, let alone a 6th pick? I don't know what he did.
You know what he did? He called the Cardinals. He said, "Okay, how many games did it take for you to say Rosen wasn't your guy?" And they said, 3 possessions. And he was like, "Okay." Boom, drafted him. I mean, Josh Allen was right there, literally dangling right in front of them, and they were like, "Nah, we'll pass. Let's take no. Hey, you back there? Yeah, you. Where you go to school? Duke. Oh, yeah, we'll take you."
And to be honest, to Dan's point before, when he was talking about Bosa, being kind of having a bunch of question marks coming with his pick, I think Allen was the most surefire pick as an end rusher, and he was actually probably the most true defensive end in that draft.
And he was available.
And he was available at 6.
Literally.
And the mock drafts that everybody was making prior to, the rumors that we heard a day or 2 before the draft about Daniel Jones, everybody was saying the Giants are going to take Allen at 6. And who's on the table at 6? Allen, just sitting, waiting to be picked. But Jones gets picked at 6. Somebody that could have probably, actually most definitely would have been in tonight's part of the draft, the second round.
Oh, and, yeah, no, he would have been there in the second. I mean, it makes no sense why you took him when you took him.
So
Go.
if you think about what the Giants did, they had 3 first-round picks, right? Because they traded into the back end for the 30th overall pick. If you trade into that first round, the guy that you drafted that you would have drafted in the second, you get an extra year on his contract because you drafted him in the first. So if you think about who was available, starting with this, say they get Lawrence. Let's say that they stick with the defense, right? They get Lawrence with the 17th overall. Then they could still execute that same exact trade to get to the 30th. You can get Daniel Jones, and everybody would understand. Everyone would say, okay, that's the quarterback.
I think everybody would be more understanding if they got him at 17.
It's just the fact that they wasted the 6th pick with him.
But
he would have been there at 17. He wouldn't, like, if you really want, like, let's say you get your defender, you get Josh Allen, right? You get that 17th pick. He's still there.
I think it's telling, though, that the Giants were able to execute that trade to get that 30th overall pick, and that solidifies the fact that they could have gotten Daniel Jones at 30th overall.
It just made it worse.
Right.
The only excuse that they have, in the Giants front office with Gettleman and even Shermer, but even though Shermer looked like he wanted to die in that press conference when they were talking about him, looked like he literally didn't even want him. He was like, Gettleman's like, yeah, I really fell in love with him after those 3 series. Shermer's face, if you look back at that video, it looks like he's just dead inside. It's just the most lifeless face I've ever seen. I'm like, yeah, that's a coach that really looks like he's excited for him to come play. But I think everybody would have been more lenient and more accepting if we got him at 17. But even then, I think it was too early. I think we reached ridiculously for every single pick that we had in the first round last night. I think Jones was a reach without a doubt. Baker is
state the obvious.
Baker, we don't know anything about at a corner position really, aside from I think he was a pretty solid corner in playing zone, but the best press corner was still there. Man corner was still available on the table, and we didn't take him. So now we were limited to the way that he can play in the defensive scheme now. And Lawrence is a dude who's going to eat 7,000 freaking Doritos and be 900 pounds one day after 2 days of skipping camp or something like that. Is going to come back 50 pounds heavier than we expect. He's going to be a liability when it comes to health, let alone he was suspended in college. So how's that going to carry over into the NFL where it's even more strict when it comes to that stuff? And they don't give you a second chance. There's no going into the NFL and leaving your college mistakes behind. It's you're in the NFL and then you're done. So I think it was pretty much like everybody has been saying and everyone's been covering. I think this is the biggest fumble, no pun intended, of a first round draft for pretty much any team that I can remember, honestly, aside from the Browns drafting 900 quarterbacks that have been busts. But in fairness to them, they were all also the highest rated quarterbacks or whatever of that class for the most part. So they just got unlucky in that department. But all we can say now is, in fairness to them, they said that was the guy they wanted a couple of days in advance. And if they really felt that's their guy, they went and got him because I guess they didn't want him to get taken. So you got to respect that to a certain degree, but It just seems like we don't know what's going on, and everybody thinks it's some ridiculous thing going on. We have to just hope that Gettleman knows something that we don't, and that's all we could really say about that at this point.
I think they're just picking out of a freaking hat at this point. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Quoted multiple
quarterback.
Keep going.
With the quarterback class that's coming out next year, right? And Eli's your starting quarterback. You already said Eli's the starting quarterback, not only for this year, but I think even into next year, no?
I think
right, because he only has 2 years left on
this
last year.
What they had said was this is all tying into everything that Gettleman says and how we really can't actually believe anything he says. He says we signed Odell and we drafted Odell not to trade him. And what do we do? Literally
trade him.
Days later, we trade him. 2
days later after saying that, yeah.
And then Gettleman is quoted saying that he's going to not draft for needs, but draft the best player that's available in the draft at that time. Not only does he draft for needs, but he doesn't even draft the best player for that need at that time. So it's like Daniel Jones wasn't even the sixth best player. Really, you can almost argue in the
Even the best
ACC.
quarterback available at the time.
So saying that he's somehow the sixth best player in the entire draft at the time is unbelievable. So we can't believe anything that this guy says, and there's going to be riots in the streets if some other ridiculous stuff goes on. I mean, what more players can we trade away unless we get rid of Saquon in some ridiculous transaction? That's the whole franchise would be in shambles at that point. So
yeah.
If they trade him, I'd lose it. I think I would actually lose it.
I mean, every single Giants jersey I have is now useless. I had an OBJ jersey and I had 2 Landon Collins jerseys.
Yeah, you did. That's
thinking
sick.
that both of them, which rightfully so, was what I thought was a safe thought, is that they're both going to be locked down for long-term contracts and they're going to be on the team for a while, if not for the rest of their careers.
Absolutely.
We were talking about tagging Collins, and he was up to it at first. He didn't really want to, but he said he would do it. We waited too long. Then he was like, hell no, I'm not doing it. And there he goes. We didn't fight for him at all.
Nope.
What coverage said that we were offering deals his way? Nothing. So we just let him walk off to what team? The Redskins. Great. Now we have to face him twice a year, right? And then we go and we trade OBJ and our Pro Bowl defensive end, Olivier Vernon, to the Cleveland Browns, and just single-handedly with 2 players make them a contender now. So it's going to be an interesting year, to say the least. So I'm just excited for preseason games. I know it doesn't mean anything, but at least we get to get a look at this guy, because how many of us were really watching any Duke games that were ever televised on TV? I know it wasn't me. So we actually get to watch him actually playing a game. So that'll be interesting. But Gettleman said that he wants to go down the approach of the Green Bay approach, or Kansas City with Mahomes, and
I saw that.
Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers didn't start for like 3 years. So you're telling me you picked Daniel Jones at 6 to then sit behind Eli for 2 or 3 years? He's going to get paid a shit ton of money being picked at 6 to just sit there and not play. So the system doesn't make any sense. You draft a lower tiered quarterback or somebody lower in the draft to do that system or that strategy, not the 6th pick. But
or why waste the 6? If that's the plan, is that the route you want to go with? Why would you even bother drafting the guy? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why not wait till next year when you actually get a good quarterback? Like, well, okay, I shouldn't say that because we don't know if this guy's good or not. I've never seen him.
He's literally just an Eli clone, pretty much. The same build, 6'5", 6'4"-ish, probably around the same weight, 220-ish. And they look like they're going to play the same. Daniel Jones might be a little more agile, but that's literally it. But he's young, so everyone's a little more agile at this point. So it's not really.
If he's the Eli clone, then doesn't every Giant fan hate Eli? Which makes no sense because Eli's not even the problem. It's the fact that he doesn't have any time to throw.
Eli statistically had actually a good season last year, but people don't see that.
Everyone hates Eli. It makes no sense because literally Eli is not the problem. It's the fact that they can't have anyone blocking for him for more than a second and a half. Like, you try being a quarterback and getting rushed by 3 people in 5 seconds.
We're gonna see how Kyler deals with that, because he's gonna run into that problem for sure in Arizona.
Well, but the thing with Kyler is that he can actually move out of the pocket.
Yeah, but he's gonna have to do that every play, pretty much. So I don't know how much success he's gonna have with that. But
we'll see what happens with him.
But with the Giants, hopefully some of those lineman pickups and moves that we've made in the offseason hopefully turn out to be something significant and not like a Nate Solder moment where we make him the highest paid lineman and all of a sudden he starts shitting the bed. But he did pick it up towards the end of the year. But enough football. Let's talk some baseball because I'm getting pissed. So, but I mean, this isn't a good topic either. Really, it's just a different sport. So, damn.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Red Sox a little bit. What's going on, buddy? What's going on with your squad? Little hangover from the World Series or what?
Without a doubt. Alex Cora tried taking a page out of what the Dodgers showed doesn't work. Last year, if you remember, the Dodgers got off to a historically slow start. Everybody thought LA was on fire. LA was tanking. It's because if you look at what they did in the spring training, they rested all their stars, all their main guys who carried them into the World Series against Houston. They didn't get going until the second or third week of spring training. What do the Red Sox do? The very same thing. And if you ask those LA guys, why did you guys get off to a slow start? It's because, we tried resting everybody in spring training, and that's exactly what the Red Sox did. So what are we now? We're in the third week of baseball, right? And the Red Sox are roughly at their full month of spring training, a full month at this point with the stars. And it's gotten some guys hurt. It's gotten us 4 games below 500 entering tonight. Our game is postponed, thankfully. We can all use a rest at this point. But it's very much a hangover and poor management, poor time management, I think, on Alex Cora.
I never thought I'd be rooting for the Red Sox to get some wins early on in the season, but it actually, the way that the conference is and everything is looking, you want them to win against the Rays for sure.
Yeah. No, that's the tricky thing. My whole family are Yankee fans, so this past weekend when the Red Sox swept the Rays, you had my family happy that the first place Rays finally lost. But then it comes at
they were rolling though, so they were a problem early.
They were, but it also allows the Red Sox to come back into the race, because if the Red Sox had been swept, they would have gone down roughly 10 games or so, and that even no matter how early you are, with how hot the Rays were, you cannot be down 10 games even this early.
You're not going to win it all this early, but you can definitely lose it. I think that's a saying that people have heard. So if you spiral too quickly, too many L's in the beginning of the season, it's a big, tough hole to climb out of. So, but the Yankees, I mean, they started off super slow too, and a lot of that had something to do with the 900 players they have on the injured list now, not the disabled list, the injured list. Faccenda, talk to me, bro. What the hell is going on? Do we have to fire entire training staff in New York? What are they doing?
I have no idea. It's actually insane. It's like someone breathes the wrong way. You're just like, no, like, it's insane how such bad luck, like Clint Frazier was on a roll. We go out west. We're finally starting to play hot, and boom.
Yeah, we're playing with a AAA roster.
Guy rolls his ankle and he has like a slight tear in his ankle. Like it's unfortunate.
I mean, he was just commenting the other day that how many people we have on the IL already, and he's like, "Yeah, no thanks. Like we have enough people there." And then 2 days later, he's like, "Never mind, I need to go. I'm really hurt."
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And it's baseball. It's like I don't understand how there's so many injuries in baseball. I feel like so consistent. You're literally standing for not moving for 70% of the game. You know what I mean? How are you possibly getting hurt? Maybe that's why they're getting hurt, because they're literally getting stiff, not moving the whole time. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
But
I think
non-contact sport, like,
a lot of the injuries are these soft tissue injuries too, which makes you look at the training staff because these guys, those injuries are more muscle based. Those are injuries that should be prevented by strength and conditioning, in which is very well appropriate for them to look and for the media to start questioning: is their strength and conditioning staff right for the job?
Well, it's not even this. I wouldn't even say it's the strength and conditioning that they have for the organization. I think it could be a lot of their guys could be what they're doing in the off season.
Well, they're executing. They should be executing.
They should be executing what the organization is giving them, but many of them do have their own trainers, and they do different workouts and strength and conditioning programs that that their trainers give them, and some do like the diets and stuff, where they follow a strict diet and stuff like that. But because a lot of these injuries you're seeing are coming right after spring training. Right after back into the organization's way of training and so that's why it gives me the idea. Okay, maybe it's not the organization's strength and conditioning. Maybe it's what they're doing in the off season or maybe the lack of something in the off season.
I 100% agree for sure.
It's definitely an interesting topic, and injuries in baseball you see are a lot more common than what they were back in the day. And I think
is crazy since the way modern medicine is and the enhancements we've had with, training and physical therapy and just all that stuff. But there was somebody talking about the reason that Judge got hurt was actually because he's in too good of shape. He's too ripped, like too strong, that he got hurt because of that.
He's not as flexible anymore.
Right, because he's just pure muscle. He's swinging so hard. He's generating so much torque.
There is science behind that because, I mean, Noah Syndergaard, coming into last season, the Mets were worried that he worked out too much. He didn't have enough fat. He had too much muscle. And as a pitcher, working the way that they do, he could easily get injured because he's not as flexible. So there is the argument to be made.
So what's the benefit of being ripped anymore? What they all got to go back to becoming Babe Ruth, be fast, eating hot dogs, running third base, and whatever else.
It was you never want to. I mean, as at least a baseball player, you never want to be as that ripped. I mean, when you have those big arms, right? You're never gonna be able to swing a baseball bat. It's gonna be impossible because you can't extend your arms. You know what I mean? Like when you're bulked like that, when you're built like that with those big arms, you're not gonna be able to extend your arms.
Pitching especially, it's all about flexibility and you know how quick you can really move that lever around. The long lever and how quick you're moving through the zone has nothing to do with, quite how hard you might be moving your arm. A lot of it has to do with the angle and everything else, and that's why taller pitchers obviously tend to be more successful. But
let's be honest, if you're the New York Yankees, if you're the fan of the Yankees, you're a team that's incredibly injured, but you're a team that's also kept pace. You're not falling too far behind, and you're winning games. So if I was the Yankees,
for sure,
I'd be anything but nervous. You guys should be feeling good about your team because once they do come back, because they will, and if you guys do keep pace, all it does, it allows your guys to not be rushed to come back.
I agree 100%.
Poorly as the Red Sox were hurt, you guys would be rushing a Gary Sanchez sooner than he should be, an Aaron Hicks sooner than he should be. But now you let these guys rest longer because you're keeping pace with the Rays. And the Red Sox, being as slow as they are right now, are allowing you to keep these guys from being rushed because we're not breathing down your necks right now.
It's also a sign to see these guys play because now you know what you have if you need to trade anyone
or the playoffs.
It shows the trade value that you have.
I think if anything, I think Clint is making his case to either become like a full-time starter or he's raising his stock for us to deal him somewhere.
Before a full-time starter for who? Who would he be replacing? Just
Stanton probably.
Funny. No, seriously. Who would he be replacing?
Probably Judge.
Okay, you know what?
the bald dude, probably.
Yeah, the bald dude, Brett Gardner. Yeah.
I don't even know why you guys don't like it's one of those things that you guys don't like him because of his name, but when you look at what he does for your team, he adds value. You guys don't a guy that value. Mind blowing. It's mind blowing.
You go back to first semester senior year of college. We're at the house and it's what is it, game 5 or something, or game 4 against the Cleveland Indians, and the Yankees were down by 2 and they had the tying run at second base. And Kaz was like, he's gonna tie the game up here. I was like, if he ties the game up here, I'll never hate Brett Gardner again. And guy hits a fucking rope down the first baseline, scores 2 guys, and we end up winning the game. And I have to,
but obviously you didn't like him.
It's mind-boggling. The guy has done nothing but earn the respect that he should get.
Striking out every single at bat and batting .220.
No, that's incredibly inaccurate.
It's not incredibly inaccurate.
That is. You have to look at the stats. That's incredibly inaccurate.
Well, I'm gonna pull up this guy's career stats. Let's see what his career stats are.
I think his career like 240.
I can tell you he has 100 home runs in the 98 seasons, so that's about.
He's not a home run hitter.
0.2 home runs.
Okay, look at the size. He's like 5'10".
The argument here
5'10" on a good day.
So off.
No, I think he's a solid Yankee. He's done his job.
Look, you go type in Brett on Google. Gardner's not even the first thing that pops up. Some book writer comes up first. That's how important this man is.
This is such a pointless conversation. Let's move. What's the next?
He's a career .260 hitter.
That's even better than I thought.
He's only batting .239 right now.
What's his on base percentage?
Yeah, I mean, you're making your argument worse for yourself by looking at these stats at this point.
Dude, let's see. The last time he batted over, well, that's because that year he got hurt. He batted 300. He only played in 31. He only had 31 at bats in 2012 because he got hurt. He should have just stayed out of the game. Last year, 228. My God.
Regardless, he does his job. I think he's a good leadoff hitter. He sees pitches.
Exactly.
He's quick when he gets on the bases.
Yeah, definitely.
Welcome to the game of baseball. Aaron Judge, one of the highest strikeout rates in baseball. You don't hate him. Exactly. The silence says all.
Okay,
we shall move on to the next.
We shall
move on.
Hold on. We're going to compare Aaron Judge to Brett Gardner. Is that what we're comparing?
No, you're complaining about strikeouts.
I'm complaining that this guy doesn't hit.
That's incredible. Look at
how is it inaccurate?
You just said
first off, he's a leadoffer. He's supposed to see a lot of balls. He's supposed to get on base. The guy only 26 walks in why is this not? Oh, I scrolled. Let's see. Okay. 239 last year. Walked 12 times. Oh, that's this year. My bad. Stop.
It's like 12 times.
Why are you?
No way.
The on base percentage.
Can you show me where that is on
That's
your?
What I was scrolling for. Stop being such an asshole.
All right, and moving on.
Find it, Mister.
Listen.
Let Mr. Red Sox find it.
Yeah, I'm the one supporting your own player here.
Then you know what? If you like him so much, you can have him.
Oh, we have the best outfielder in the game. We're not gonna have him.
But don't you want to add another solid best outfielder ever? He's the MVP, you know.
Oh, I didn't MVP of your team. That's correct. See, you're taking you're incredibly inaccurate.
His on-base percentage this year is 340, so I'm pretty sure it was around there, like 380-ish last
322
year.
Last year, 350 the year before, 351, 343, 327, 344, and then we're going back to prehistoric times because, according to Red Sox fans, it's prehistoric time because anytime the Yankees win a World Series, it doesn't count because it's in the past.
All right, so we're gonna save this for our next episode when we start arguing Yankees Boston.
He said that exact line to me as a Red Sox fan talking about winning in the last 15 years. We just use that against Red Sox fans. I'm done talking about Yankees.
When did I ever say that?
So
was that said
that's
on?
it. No, we're not talking about.
Talking about.
So Vlad Guerrero Jr. MLB debut was tonight. I don't know. You guys are watching the game right now or what?
No,
I actually put on. He doesn't like watching sports.
No, I had it on and then I put the draft on.
He's not doing much, but he's bringing a lot of energy to the Toronto Blue Jays that do not have anything to look forward to for the time.
It's a nice Lexus commercial right now.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
$389 in lease a month? No, thank you. $4,000 due at signing. Yikes.
I mean, are you guys expecting him to stay for the long haul right now, or is this just in the meantime?
He'll be there the long haul.
Well, you've surpassed the 2 weeks now, so they can bring him up for the next 6 years.
6 years, yeah. I mean, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be good. I don't know if he's going to be as good as his dad was.
I mean, he's 0 for 3 tonight, so.
Well, according to Dan, that's good if you're Brett Gardner.
That literally makes no sense, but again, we're gonna move on.
I think his whole story is really cool with him and his dad, and their minor league stats compared to, or like when you combine the minor league stats between the two, they were almost identical, which is pretty insane.
I think his dad had a few more hits and a couple more RBIs, but I think Junior played in a few less games. Right? How does that? I mean, I don't have it in front of me, obviously, as you can see, since.
I think the only category that his dad led him in was average by like 15 or something like that. But they were both
really
above 300. So
2 walks, 7 Ks.
I think he's going to be a good spark for that Toronto team. I think they need something to, like Dan was saying, something for them to look forward to and provide a little hype for the fans and some excitement. So I don't know. I'm always down for young players to get their shot in the MLB and in the big show and see what they could do. So I'm excited for the future for him and baseball, and I get to cover him a lot at work. So it's cool doing highlights and stuff for him. So we'll see what he has.
A lot of them for him.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll. I don't know how long it will take him to adjust, but I think he just needs to be relaxed, play the game that he's been playing this whole time, and
he had that walk-off in
put a lot of
that
pressure
exhibition game that he played with them. So
Yes, he did. That was they played that at Montreal, right? They played that at the fuck's that stadium called? They played in Montreal. They played at the old Expo Stadium.
I wasn't.
Well, you don't follow any of baseball besides what? Brett Gardner and the Red Sox?
Well,
All right.
on that note, I think we're going to conclude episode number 1 of the Front Runners podcast. It was fun getting a chance to actually do this. I know it's not exactly what we were expecting or hoping for, but hopefully one of the next episodes in the near future we can
is present.
Yeah, we can get together and all the equipment will be there and the production quality will be a little bit better. But this is definitely a good alternative in the meantime, so we could always hop on regardless of where we are. And just get a podcast out there for whoever's going to listen. Probably my dad will be listening to this. That's for sure. He loves the podcast, man. He's always asking me when we're doing it. So, and he's also said that he's down to be our inside source, Big Ray from LIC. So he's down to be a guest on the show.
He's not like Brett Gardner, right?
He probably feels the same way I do. He thinks he's a good Yankee, but he wasn't going to say he's his favorite by any means. So I think Didi's his favorite right now.
Nobody said all right, forget it.
What? Just come on, speak. It's a podcast. You have.
No, I'm not speaking.
Your voice is what we want to hear.
Like the argument. We're gonna move on.
Talk. Come on, speak.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in and listening and watching episode 1 of the Front Runners podcast. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.